Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking about therapy and the importance of therapy.
And trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I'm wrong. I got it. I gotta go, run.
So to put it in context, I'm still in therapy and I recently posted this story, but basically it said sometimes therapy is hard and that's okay. And I posted that literally after I'd got off the video call with my therapist, and that was the first therapy session that I had that I cried. I cried the whole time in that therapy session. There was two main things that I was crying about, and one was an incident that happened at my current job, and obviously I'm not going to get too much into detail about that because it's now somewhat resolved, but it was causing me a heck of a lot of trauma because of it. And you know, I needed to be validated and my therapist validated me. This therapist that I've got now is probably the best therapist that I've ever had in terms of like all the therapy I've been through. I've been through CBT, I've been through DBT, I've been through counselling, I've been through all these different types of therapy, and this therapist is the right therapist for me. And sometimes it does take time to get to having the right therapist, and sometimes you have to change your therapist a few times to find someone that you click with. But I really click with this person, and at the start of my therapy she turned around to me and she said, if there's ever anything that I say or do that offends you, or anything that I say or do that triggers you, please let me know, please tell me, because I don't want to keep triggering you. And actually there was one thing in the most recent session that I will talk about that she said, and she did apologise for it once I told her that it triggered me, but she said about being thick-skinned and thin-skinned, and that is something that I was told as a child from various people in my family that basically said that I needed to become more thick-skinned, I needed to develop this thick skin. And from having her say that kind of like just made my heart skip a beat. And I did say to her once she finished speaking, I said, you know, next time that you want to say like thick or thin skinned, like she was talking about being hypersensitive, I said, you know, can you use the word hypersensitive, or can you use the term like more sensitive to emotions or something like that, just because thick and thin skinned just kind of triggers me when someone's just talking about me with that. And she goes, oh yeah, no, that's completely my fault, like, you know, I'm really sorry. Like, I goes, no, it's fine, I just want you to make you aware of it, because at the beginning of our sessions you did say that if I was to say to you that I didn't like it or it triggered me, to let you know so that you could not do it again. And she took that on board and she apologised profusely, which she didn't need to apologise profusely, but it made me realise that she cares, and she definitely does care about my feelings and how it's like impacting me in a way. Like it definitely, yeah, we definitely, you know, I've made some big discoveries within my therapy and things that my friends have known for years and years and years, but I just haven't known. Like Alex, one of my best friends, I have a picture of her here, she's amazing. She's, you know, been on my channel a couple of times and on my vlog channel as well, and she is just amazing. And she, like, when I said to her, I've just realised this in therapy, she was like, I've known that for like 2 years. I've known that about you for like 2 years. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? Sort of thing. But it's good that I've discovered it on my own grounds, and it's good that I've discovered it on my own, because now I'm able to actually move forward from it. But in this therapy I have made so many revelations, so many like good leaps within discovering myself, that it's amazing. And I love the fact that I am making these discoveries about myself. So if you're considering therapy, do it. Do it even if you haven't had trauma, because do it. You know, therapy is something that can help anyone, and here in the UK you have to go on waiting lists for therapies. I think you can like do counselling under charities, but for actual therapies just go on waiting lists. But I would say do it. Like, if you can afford to go privately, do it. If you can't afford to go privately, get on an NHS waiting list, because therapy can be so helpful for people that don't even think they've got trauma, because you might have trauma. I know that a lot of children who and that are now adults that grew up in sort of my era, you know, when the parenting style was changing, have definitely, you know, there's been a spike in mental health because of that. And I think that's one of my theories, is the parenting style changing from strict parenting to gentle parenting. And now there's a lot of people that are in my generation that didn't grow up with like the whole gentle parenting aspect, are now growing up and they're becoming mothers and they're, you know, becoming fathers, and they're starting to do this gentle parenting, but them themselves were brought up in the latter end of strict parenting, which has now, because they've seen people being brought up in gentle parenting, they're now kind of looking at it going, but I wish I had that. And it's not the fault of their parents, because, you know, that's just how, you know, how society was at the time. Like when I was young, you know, it was okay when I was very young to hit your child if they were naughty, like, you know, things like that. And so, you know, I grew up having quite strict parents. Some of the things that, you know, that they thought were right, and as I said, it's nothing, like, there's no fault on them for how they parented me, because that's just how you did it back then. Like, that's how, you know, that's how you disciplined your child. Like, but now it's all about gentle parenting, and us as now adults are looking back on our childhood and then comparing it to the whole gentle parenting aspect and are going, oh, why couldn't I have that? Like, why wasn't I gentle parented? I would have responded really well to gentle parenting. And I think it's just hard seeing what you could have had if you'd been born, say, 10 years later. But it is what it is. But I believe that's kind of why I needed to go through so much therapy, to fully understand the reasons behind me needing all this therapy. Like, I have, as I said, been through CBT, DBT, I've been through EMDR, which also was another therapy that really helped me. I do talk about EMDR in a couple of my videos, and I will do a dedicated video to what EMDR is, but I need some research behind that and then add in my own experiences. But in the basic fact, EMDR is eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, where basically you have, like, it's a trauma therapy, it's a trauma-based therapy for people who've actually had, like, proper traumas. And I myself have been sexually assaulted, and I've been physically assaulted, and someone tried to kill me basically when I was younger. So I've had a lot of different traumas in my life, which have meant that this therapy definitely, like, helped me a lot. Put it this way, when I started the therapy, they gave me a questionnaire and I was being referred for it, and the questionnaire basically was a screening questionnaire to see whether you would be eligible to have the therapy and also whether they think it would benefit you. And I did this questionnaire and I scored, I think it was out of 80, and I think I scored like 72 or 74 or something like that out of 80. And someone who's suitable would get, say, 55 and above, and I literally nearly scored what's called full marks on this thing, and they basically just goes, you're traumatized, let's do this therapy. And so I did it, and I remember doing this therapy, and then it basically kick-started my recovery. And although I had admissions to hospital after the fact, I still believe that this therapy definitely kick-started my journey to recovery. And now I am so happy to say that I have celebrated my 3 years into my mental health recovery, and it is just amazing. I love it. I do love the idea of being well. Like, recovery looks amazing on me and I love it. But that is it for today's video. Thank you very, very much for watching, and don't forget that I believe in you even if nobody else does. Bye.
Just like you're young again, no, don't you cry. Just get back up again.